Hello there. It's been a while. This is Cindy at cindybdesigns.com. Thank you for joining me today. This is a concept art card that I made for my sample using the new Quite Curvy bundle. I love it, and so are you. And I'm going to show you what that stamp set's all about coming up. And this is the Christmas card that we are making today. I'm using the exact same layout, just changed a couple things here and there. But super easy to make. My measurements are going to be different than yours, but I give you a ballpark in the description below with a direct link to my blog. So that is the Curvy Christmas stamp set, which is available to you now, which is great for Christmas. And it also comes with a stamp set behind it, the die cuts, and then this pack of designer series paper, which is shaded spruce, cherry cobbler, and Sahara sand. So you're going to get several different patterns of those three different colors. And I've already separated everything out. You have polka dots, you have like little sprigs. We're going to have like a crossbone pattern there. You see more colors. Little trees there, little Christmas trees. On top, you're going to see some stripes, larger sprigs. I mean, this is a huge pack of paper that you'll have no problem going through. That pattern right there coordinates with the die cuts. Can you cut them out with that? No, but it keeps everything cohesive. Stars, I have used that before. And then we have like kind of a woven pattern there. And there we go with the striped skin. I'm going to have to get new equipment because I don't know if you're seeing this or not. I'm just seeing the screen blank out left and right. And what I'm using is really old. So there is the Curvy Christmas that will just take you through this Christmas season. And again, those are the coordinating die cuts. You can use those on the curves that you're seeing at the top of the stamp set there. And then this stamp set underneath it, Quite Curvy, that is going to carry over to the spring catalog coming out on January 5th for you. And you can get this now too, by the way. I love the three birds on the left-hand side there. They come with their own separate die cuts that will cut out all three of them. And you just have the curvy sentiments with the different fonts that I really love. And with this bundle here, there's even color, paper piece. Again, there's those three birds. And those sentiments go perfectly along the lines of the die cut curves. And a little close up, that little teeny tiny image there on the left, we also have a die cut for that. I mean, there's just tremendous possibilities for this. And this is a first for Stampin' Up! To put out something like this. So I'm going to pick it up just a little bit now. Again, that is our sample card, and I use the Flowers for All Seasons designer series paper, and that truly is paper for all seasons. That is my envelope. I already sent that birthday card out to a girlfriend in New Zealand, and I just put a simple sentiment on the inside with real red. And now we are going to start putting together our card. I am using, like I said, I'm changing everything there. I have 4 different adhesives, the Seal Plus, Stampin' Dimensionals, liquid adhesive, glue dots, real red sheer ribbon, Just Jade stamp pad, and then I have a piece of scratch paper of real red. Oh, there's the envelope again. I did it the exact same way, so I'm just showing you what it looks like. Our card is going to be top folding A2, 4 1/4 across by 5 1/2 down. I cut a piece of the designer series paper in the Christmas pattern from Flowers for All Seasons to the exact same width and height because that's going to cover the entire card front. I have a piece of Bumblebee cardstock there, and then a piece of regular Whisper White cardstock, and again that piece of real red cardstock. You're going to want everything by 4 inches across, our white cardstock and the Bumblebee and the real red. So now I am bringing in our Stamparatus. You know how much I use this tool. I'm going to put some Seal Plus on the back of our designer series paper and get that adhered to the card front there. And I'm making sure that everything lines up. I want the pattern to look right on there and more towards the upside rather than upside down petals. Giving it a quick check just to make sure that everything went on right, and it always does with the Stamparatus. Now I'm bringing in the Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine. That is our magnetic plate. The entire plate there, or not plate, you can see it's very flexible. It's just one giant magnet. And I really don't have to use my painter's tape anymore, although I still kind of do because it's just a habit. So I'm kind of sizing up and winging how much clearance I want there. And I move it a little bit more towards the middle, a third of the way down, 5/8, somewhere around there. And I'm running that through the Big Shot, and that is the die with the polka dots on it. And I'm pulling that up, and the little inserts there, or the dots just kind of fall right out. Taking the pokey tool and getting the rest of them out there to keep everything together. So the reason why I wasn't around for a couple weeks, I moved. I went from 3,300 square feet to 907, and I could not be happier. This is great. It is awesome. This piece of paper here, you want to keep that 4 across, and I am going to take that little curvy there with a pattern in it, and I want that going up, and you can see what I'm doing there. Just making sure my curves are going, looking for a point of reference, and that's why I kept the straight edge more so, well, actually all the way to the left-hand side, so I would have everything lined up perfectly. And even if you don't, this is so easy to line up. I mean, really easy. I didn't even try with the other card that I made, and it turned out perfectly. So I'm poking out the little inners of that, and I'm lining everything up there. I kind of had a wing what to do with that real red cardstock. I was going to use the curve and cut it, and I thought, you know what, forget it. It was just easier to grab my pencil, line everything up that way, draw a line, and then I'm going to take my scissors and just go ahead and cut around it that way. Do you have to do it that way? No, you can go ahead and adhere it and then just cut along the edge of the Whisper White cardstock. That choice is really yours to do, making sure everything gets together there, and it does. Now I want to bring in my paper trimmer, and I am really going to trim those two, the bumblebee and the real red, up really tight, because it's going to add bulk to the back of my image panel there, which is going to go on Stampin' Dimensionals, and I don't want to cause any unevenness, so to speak. And when you put all of this together, I strongly advise that you use our liquid adhesive there. That way you have some wiggle room just to move it around if something gets wonky. So here I'm just taking our glue and then Tombow Mano and, scrolling some on. And towards the top, I'm going to put on, my little teeny tiny glue dots and everything like that. So I got my office together completely, unpacked, pictures up. I'm sorry I'm out of frame. I adjusted my camera, wasn't paying attention because I have a lot more room than I used to, than you can see since I did adjust my camera. And please leave a comment and let me know if you're seeing all these lines going through this video like I'm seeing right now, like it's blinking in and out, because it's really frustrating for me. And I'd like to know what you see. And there we have. That is how I put it together, and is that simple. With the bumblebee, I didn't use liquid glue. Sorry about that. So I'm having to snip a little bit off. And that is how we are looking so far. I'm going to grab that red ribbon, which is in our holiday catalog, so easy to work with. And I'm going to tie that into a bow around the top there. And instead of using our bumblebee for the sentiment, which is coming up, I'm going to use Daffodil Delight, I believe, instead. So I got my block down, and I'm grabbing Scotch tape, and I do that a lot just to get the ribbon down on the other side rather than adhesive. That way I don't have to worry about it sticking to anything. And this is why I suggest that you use the liquid glue, because I'm having to use tape to cover up that seal on the back. I keep wanting to say snail. Than anything else. If I had done the adhesive, this would not be an issue. So once again, I'm pulling back in that Stamparatus and I'm going to use that to go ahead and get my bow tied. And I turned it around and face it towards me because you know how I tie bows upside down? It just kind of works out that way. So I'm grabbing my tweezers and just turning around that Stamparatus, making bunny ears, and then getting that all tied up. So as usual, right about now, I'm going to mess around with that bow quite a bit. Not too bad though. I had to, stick my fingers through there just to get that loop the way I wanted it to. I'm going to snip off the ends, or, just the tails, snip them off, and then sneak a glue dot there underneath the knot of the bow so it doesn't go anywhere. And I'm just going to do an angled cut. Then I'm going to flip it over. Actually, no, I'm not, because I have to get that sentiment on there. So we are pulling the sentiment from Curvy Christmas. And again, I am so sorry. I'm out of frame. There we go. I pulled it down. And I'm using the Thinking of You at Christmas time. And I needed a larger sentiment because that is a white panel. And I wanted to go all the way across and keep that font a little bit on the larger side. I'm inking that up with Just Jade, which is one of our brand new ink colors this year. Well, now it's like 6 months old almost. And that is our sentiment. I figured I would go ahead and do the inside for you this time. So I opened up our card front there, and these are photopolymer stamps. And so when I do that, I don't like to put it all the way over to the right, just so I get it all down. I have no problem cutting my stamps up whatsoever, as you can see here, because that should read something about Mary. Well, I got the card in front of me. It's going to read, May your days be merry and bright. And I cut it after the merry part. And since they are photopolymer, they go right back together perfectly. And the same with our cling mount as well. And hopefully I'll bring this back into frame pretty soon. And I also yeah, there we go. I also lay this down with the Just Jade as well. And I still have like that cute little curvy design there. And I took some of our designer series paper, the same pattern that I used on the front that I had a scrap of already, and put some adhesive on the back of that, some of our Seal Plus, and then just adhered it to the bottom inside of the card there. So I hope all of you are doing well. Thank you for the text messages and phone calls and the emails that you sent me. It was just a move, nothing super important or like that. Well, yeah, it was important, but I wasn't sick or anything. Now I'm going to grab some regular size white Stampin' Dimensionals. You've heard me talk about running my pokey tool down there a lot. It helps the release paper come off a lot easier. I'm going to put 9 on the back there just because it is a little bit of a larger panel in rows of 3. Eventually peel off the release paper and get that adhered about, I put the top of it about 1/3 of the way down, and it leaves me maybe an inch or so at the very, very bottom there. How you pull it off is going to be completely different than what I do because of the curves. There's no true measurements or anything like that. You just eyeball it, and as I always say, wing it. And this is how simple this card is to make. I did not put any embellishments on the panel or anything like that. Can you do it? Yes, we have enough to do it with, but I wanted to keep this really clean and really simple. You can mass produce these cards as well, or teach it in a class if you have them, a card kit, card club, and that is what we are looking like. So again, please leave me a comment if you're seeing that mess I'm seeing flying across the screen. Thank you so much for joining me today. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe to my channel and my blog. Sign up for the newsletter. There's the birthday card on the left. And if you have any questions, please let me know. So enjoy your weekend, and then I will see you next week for another card making tutorial and more cards on the blog over at cindybdesigns.com.